Hello everyone. Thank you for stopping by and thank you for subscribing to my channel. Education is a wonderful tool when you learn something inside or really outside of the Kingdom Hall. So inside the Kingdom Hall, they brought out something very interesting about building the Kingdom Halls and branch offices. It looks like I got a moth flying around. Anyway, this was very interesting. Now, you may catch certain things and you may want to bring them out in the comments, but I'm only going to bring out a few things what I saw or hear is very important. In the 10-minute part, just about 10 minutes, it'll mention about over 100,000 new members every year coming into Jehovah's organization. Now the 15-minute part, it mentioned about the getting rid of the headquarters, the Bethel buildings in different countries to downsize. Now, here's the thing, people. If you start a business and your business is taxi drivers, and you got a bunch of people every week want to use a taxi, then you got to get more taxis and more taxis and more taxis, and you got more people because you're reasonable, your employees are nicer, considerate, and bend a little bit to help to get the people to where they got to go. You know, courtesy. Your business is growing. So if you got 50 or 60 taxi drivers and you got a lot of people every day using your taxis, you got a good business. Now, why would you come in one day, say, let's say we got 50 taxis and drivers. You come in one day that tell them that you're going to eliminate 25 of them. Get rid of 25 cars, 25 employees. Now, you got the same amount of customers. Now you got people who's going to work more harder and going crazy trying to catch up with those other 25 people that had a full-time job. Would that make a good business? No. So, people, think about it. How can you have over 100,000 new employees of Jehovah's Witnesses? Because remember, that's about based on what we were to Watchtower employees. How can you have over 100,000 new employees and you getting rid of these new buildings, new plants, that Bethel homes in other countries, and when your members is growing every year, makes no sense. And you're losing so many Kingdom Halls all over the world, Watchtower selling them, and your members just keeps growing and growing. Doesn't that sound like to you somebody's lying? And you're sitting in the Kingdom Hall and you can't comprehend the lie? Maybe it's because Satan the devil has technically blinded your eyes, your mind, and you're sitting there not even doing the math. Now, if you're losing your customers, then you will be downsizing your employees. But the world hasn't basically went through the Armageddon fight, so there is still, everybody's still alive. So is it the customers downsizing causing Watchtower not to get more people coming in? Or maybe it's just Watchtower themselves lying about the 100,000 people coming in each year. It's something to really think about. And they're talking about, the that's crazy lawyer, 1935, went to Hawaii when they have one of the new branches, and they're building a church, and that's where they get the word Kingdom Hall. And to this day, that's the reason why we're called Kingdom Halls. So you hear the story about that. Now, I remember I was bragging to people a long time ago that these quick built Kingdom Halls, which I never got involved. I wish I did, because it would have been interesting to see it done. But knowing that these buildings, it just made them look good, made Watchtower look good. 2-day Kingdom Halls, from the bottom up, plants, trees, grass, and it's done. I remember even telling people that we made so many Kingdom Halls, 2-day Kingdom Halls, or even 3-day Kingdom Halls. How you want to look at it? It made this religion look good. But the problem is, it doesn't matter how many Kingdom Halls you built, you turn around and selling them. So your hard time, energy, your sweat into these buildings, and your money, Watchtower turning around and selling them, and not one single Jehovah's Witness that has put their sweat and their hours in made not one dime. You might get a partial free meal, but that's it. So you see anything in this video you like to bring out in the comment, what catches your ears, please do. Because 100,000 people every year flocking into this organization, and they're selling a bunch of Kingdom Halls and everything that we find out, it makes no sense. Because remember, this is Jehovah's organization. So, laugh because we know the lies within Watchtower will not tell the truth. So, y'all take care, and I have a couple more inside this meeting. I'll be making a couple more videos, 1 or 2. So, stay tuned. Y'all take it easy. Bye for now.
We spent some time understanding how Jehovah's organization funds the various theocratic activities through voluntary donations. Last week we talked about one of the things it does is support theocratic building projects. So this week's study begins chapter 19, which focuses on the building work that honors Jehovah. Who would like to make a comment on what the focus of this chapter will be? Sister Alicia.
Worldwide construction work serves kingdom interests.
Okay, so this is what we want to pay attention to, focus on is how the building work, the buildings that are being constructed for various purposes actually serves kingdom interests, and the reason behind that. We're going to start right off. We have Brother Alicia read paragraphs 1 and 2.
Jehovah's loyal servants have long enjoyed constructing buildings that bring praise to his name. The Israelites, for example, enthusiastically participated in the building of the tabernacle and generously provided materials for it. Jehovah does not view the building materials themselves as the primary things that bring him honor, nor are they the things that he values most. What Jehovah treasures, the gift that brings him honor above all else, is the worship rendered him by his servants, including their willing spirit and zealous work. That fact is significant. Why? Because buildings come and go. For instance, the tabernacle and the temple no longer exist. Those structures may be gone, but Jehovah has not forgotten the generosity and labor of his loyal servants who supported their construction.
Very good. The first question on those 2 paragraphs: what have Jehovah's servants long enjoyed doing? So you think that's Sydney Richter? Yes.
For Jehovah's loyal servants have long enjoyed constructing buildings that bring praise to Jehovah's name.
Very nice. How about Sister Bell?
Yes, and it also brings out how the Israelites said they were so enthusiastically participated in the building of the tabernacle that in 36:4 through 7, Exodus 36:4 through 7, it talks about how they gave so much that they had to be told not to bring anything more.
Very good. Brother Claggett.
And so for over 3,000 years, this has been a big deal to Jehovah's people, all to Jehovah's praise. I recall when we rebuilt this kingdom hall, the bells that was going on and the friends that were around. Everybody in the neighborhood was wondering what was going on. So it's very exciting, and the main thought is because it really brought honor to Jehovah's name.
Yeah, very good. I want to point out something interesting in this paragraph. The paragraph in the last part of it mentions 2 things that Jehovah's people enthusiastically do. Did you note that? Sister Luyando.
That they participated in the building of it and that they generously provided the materials for it.
Yes. And the same thing has been true of Jehovah's worshipers through the centuries in the various theocratic building projects. The B question asks, what does Jehovah treasure? I bet our sister here, sorry I don't know your name, I apologize.
Sister Wall, here at 1 Timothy 6 and verse 18 ties in nicely with what is mentioned here in paragraph 2.
It highlights how it says, tell them to work at good, to be rich in fine works, to be generous, ready to share. So it clearly indicates how Jehovah appreciates and treasures those who are generous and they're willing to extend themselves out there to do work for him and for others.
Yeah, very nice. See, we have a hand in the second school or the auxiliary room there.
Jehovah treasures the gift that brings him honor above all else is the worship rendered him by his servants, including their willing spirit and zealous work.
Yes, very nice. Sister Jimenez.
And the paragraph also brings out that what Jehovah values is not the building materials themselves, because buildings come and go, but what he does treasures and values is the worship given to him by his servants and the willingness that they do it with.
Yes, very good. And then we have two scriptures to read that help support that thought. So why don't we go to the first one? The first read scripture, 1 Corinthians 15:58. And what if we had Sister Rogers read that for us?
Therefore, my beloved brothers, be steadfast, immovable, always having plenty to do in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labor is not in vain in connection with the Lord.
And Brother Rivera.
For God is not unrighteous, so as to forget your work and the love you showed for his name, by ministering and continuing to minister to the holy ones.
Good. And so he was reading from Hebrews 6:10 there. So how do these two texts help illustrate or demonstrate that Jehovah's people are willing to give zealously all that they have for Jehovah? What's the point? Sister Sue.
But anything we do for Jehovah is never in vain, and he appreciates all of it.
Yeah, good. Brother Torres.
And Hebrews 6:10 kind of helps me to appreciate that when a project is done, that and you move on to another one, Jehovah's not going to forget the work that you've done. Or if you can't do any more of those building projects, let's say you get into old age or something like that, or get hurt like me, Jehovah's not going to forget that work that you've done.
Yeah, good. Sister Jana.
And he actually views it as an unrighteousness if he was to forget that work, that labor that someone has put in. In the dictionary points out unrighteous as being wicked or anything like that. So we know that Jehovah's not like that at all.
Yeah, very good. And Sister Milo.
And what he appreciates about that work is that it's coming from our heart, that it's an expression of our love for him, that we do that work.
Yeah, very good. We could go on many comments, but we need to move to our next paragraph, so let's follow along with the reading of paragraph 3.
Jehovah's modern-day servants have also worked hard to construct places of worship. And what we have accomplished under the direction of our King Jesus Christ is truly remarkable. Clearly, Jehovah has blessed our efforts. In this chapter, we will review just some of the work that has been done and how it has brought honor to Jehovah. We will also hear from some who have been involved in accomplishing the work.
And the question on that paragraph, what will we review in this chapter? Or Sister Brooke, please.
We are going to discuss some of the building work that has been done in the past and how that work honors our God Jehovah.
Very good. Sister Jimenez.
And we also hear from some who have been involved in accomplishing the work.
Good. Brother Owen.
And Psalms 127:1 brings out that unless Jehovah builds the house, it's in vain. Unless Jehovah guards the city, it's in vain. So we're going to see very clearly how Jehovah has had a hand in blessing all the work that we've done for him.
Good. You brought this point out, but since this is a key point of this chapter, we're going to review some of the theocratic building projects, some of the work that has been done. But according to what it said here, what are we going to focus on? How many kingdom halls were built? How many branch offices? Is that the focus? Really? What, Sister Lurch?
The focus has been and always will be how it has brought Jehovah honor.
Yeah, very good. And as the chapter title brings out, together with what the building projects are doing to support the kingdom interests, how they are really a part of the sacred service that is being accomplished today. So the first aspect that we'll consider is in the next subheading entitled Building Kingdom Halls. Let's read paragraph number 4.
As discussed in chapter 16, Jehovah requires that we meet for worship. Our meetings not only strengthen our faith, but also heighten our enthusiasm for the preaching work. As the last days progress, Jehovah continues to speed up that work. In response, hundreds of thousands flock to his organization each year. With a great number of kingdom subjects comes a greater need for printing facilities to produce Bible-based literature. We also need more places of worship.
Okay, so the first question, the A part, why do we need more places of worship? Brother Bell.
Well, there's a correlation on why we need more places. Well, and first that Jehovah recognizes, as was mentioned in the previous paragraphs, of the work that we do. And the produce from that work is new ones that are yearning to get to know him, and that's at a great increase. And because of that, more material is being needed, and then also places of worship also would have to increase as well.
Very good. Sister Rodriguez.
So just like Brother Bell said, Jehovah is continuing to direct us towards humble, hungry people that really want to learn about Jehovah, and he needs us to have places for them to come and learn about him.
Yeah, very good. Brother Ulig.
It's not like we have to wonder whether that increase is going to be there. It brings out in Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 22, the little one will become 1,000, the small one a mighty nation. But the point is, I myself, Jehovah, will speed it up in its own time. So there's no question about this going to happen. Jehovah says that it will happen, and it is. We can see the evidence of it every year.
Very good. And going on to the B question, and at this question we're going to go direct our attention to the box that's entitled Branch Construction, Adjusting to Changing Needs. And we're going to have the brothers pull up an illustration, an image that can help us discuss this. So then, why is that question? What is the response to that question? Why is branch construction being adjusted? Brother Sue.
Well, there has been some adjustments because with improvements in technology now, a lot of the friends, the brothers that were in these facilities now can be consolidated, and you don't necessarily need that many buildings and that many rooms for these folks to be accommodated.
Okay, good. And so the box helped us appreciate that what was the first branch project in modern times that was constructed, is shown in the picture here for us. Sister Sue.
This was in Brooklyn, and it was one of the first factory buildings, and this took place in 1927.
Very good. And so it was involved in the construction or the publication of various Bibles, books, magazines, and so forth. And then from this start, what else happened? What further construction began happening? Maybe we could have the other illustration brought up for us. Did that little one factory building there in Brooklyn print all of the literature for the whole world? But Sister Hugh.
Well, it started out kind of doing that, but we know by 2013, due to the numbers of Jehovah's people, Bibles, books, and magazines were then printed by some 15 branches.
Very good. And then up to the time, the most recent times, they built branches in how many countries? But Sister Rivera.
From the mid-1970s to the early 1990s, there were branch facilities in over 60 lands, and then a further 30 locations that were expanded.
Very good. So during that time period, there was quite a bit of branch construction taking place. Matter of fact, during that time period, my wife and I had that goal that we were going to go and work on branch project being constructed when we had finished our family responsibilities. But when we reached that point, much to what we're seeing in the paragraph is commenting on why the change. Why are we not doing this again? Why is the faithful and discreet adjusted this way of thinking? Sister Rogers?
Because of the improvements in communications and then the new technology out with printing, there's not a need for all of these branches, so then there was a consolidation that was being done.
Exactly. And this consolidation has helped the organization to be more efficient because of technologies, not only the things like the printing technology, but because of barriers going down in the various countries, able to travel to different places. It created an environment where there's more freedom to be able to accomplish their work without the limitations of national boundaries. So we appreciate this adjustment in the way the construction wasn't because, the work is slowing down, but because we could be more efficient. Now, remember, our point was to focus on how these things honor Jehovah. Can you make a comment, though, from this teaching box of this type of construction, branch construction, and the adjustment, and the way that that has honored Jehovah? Brother Janer.
For one reason, all this happening was the society was really in the forefront of all of this, and the types of construction and the labor force was all voluntary. How could that possibly be done? So what an honor to Jehovah that was. But as time went on, then now, as you said, the work has actually increased, and yet so Jehovah. Guess my time was up. But Jehovah has removed, so we don't have to look back and say, well, I worked on such and such, but it's not here anymore. That was an honor to Jehovah, and He has blessed us for that, and we'll remember that too.
Yes, exactly. But Brother Ching.
These adjustments lowered the amount of people needed, like you said, at these branches. Didn't send them off to retirement homes. Put them out in the field. Let them preach about the kingdom message to those that had needs. So that is an honor to Jehovah to be able to adjust to more streamline the operation, yet expanding at the same time, but putting more people in the field.
Getting more done with less. Very good. Let's return back to the paragraphs that we're considering there, and we're at paragraph number 5. So let's follow along with the reading.
Early in the modern history of Jehovah's people, the Bible students began to see the need for their own meeting places. It appears that one of the first places of worship constructed was in West Virginia, USA, in 1890. By the 1930s, Jehovah's people had built or renovated a number of halls, but those meeting places had not yet been given a distinctive name. In 1935, though, Brother Rutherford visited Hawaii, where a hall was being constructed in conjunction with a new branch office. When asked what this building should be called, Brother Rutherford replied, "Don't you think we should call it Kingdom Hall, since that is what we are doing, preaching the good news of the kingdom, that appropriate name would soon be given not only to that particular hall, but to most of the meeting places used by congregations of Jehovah's people worldwide.
Okay, so the question on that paragraph, first of all, why is the name Kingdom Hall appropriate? Brother Scott.
So the name Kingdom Hall is appropriate because that's what we're doing. We're preaching the news of the kingdom. And Brother Rutherford said, hey, we're going to be preaching the news of the kingdom right here, so we're going to call it Kingdom Hall.
Good. So it's interesting to me, we have a little bit of, let's call it theocratic history here. And where was this first Kingdom Hall, or the first building that became a Kingdom Hall, or titled that, where was it constructed? Sister Hugh.
It was in Hawaii.
Very good. About what time period? Brother Claggett.
Yeah, the very first one was in West Virginia in 1890. And so Brother Rutherford gave it the name Kingdom Halls once they built the one in Hawaii.
Yeah, very good, in 1935. So we also have another little teaching box that's entitled The New Light Church. So maybe we could bring up the image there that we can look at as we comment on that. So what is the New Light Church, according to this little teaching box? Brother Milo.
Well, back in West Virginia, back in the 1800s, towards the end of the 1800s, there were some Bible students that originally were meeting in a Baptist church, and then they decided that they were going to need their own meeting place. So they built this, what became to be known as the New Light Church. It was actually a meeting place that these Bible students had built in 1890 so that they could worship Jehovah. And they continued using that for different events, the photo drama of creation and various talks until the 1920s.
Very good. So this appears to be the first Kingdom Hall in modern history that Jehovah's Witnesses as an organization constructed. A little bit of theocratic history. So again, because our point is to focus on how theocratic building projects honor Jehovah, can you make a comment in your mind? How does this example of what happened there in Lookout, West Virginia, and this first building, this New Light Church being constructed, how did that bring honor to Jehovah? Sister Snyder.
Well, because the brothers were sharing the church there with the Baptist people there. So I believe the paragraph said that whoever got there first were the ones that needed. So basically, then that's not really giving exclusive devotion to Jehovah, worshiping Him exclusively if we're having to share a meeting place with Him.
Very good. What about Sister Lurch?
I thought another distinction too was the way they named their building, the New Light Church, because they said it became known for that because of the truths that the Bible students taught were viewed as new light on the scriptures. What a beautiful way to honor Jehovah. He was teaching them the truth, so they separated themselves.
Yeah, very good. Brother Ulick.
And if we visualize that small building there in West Virginia in the late 1800s, and look at the world today and how many kingdom halls and assembly halls and branches there are, there's no way that all could have happened without Jehovah's Spirit. And so the history from then to now in and of itself honors Jehovah God.
Very good. And it was outstanding to me that in these two pieces of theocratic history, they help emphasize in our mind that the building projects themselves were named, they were titled more about what they represented in terms of kingdom interest and how they helped advance kingdom interest in one way or another. Therefore, the buildings were honoring to Jehovah, the building projects were bringing honor to Him. Okay, let's go to our last two paragraphs in our study tonight, paragraphs number 6 and 7.
By the 1970s, the need for kingdom halls was rapidly increasing. In response, brothers in the United States developed an efficient method of building attractive, functional structures in just a few days. By 1983, some 200 of such kingdom halls had been erected in the United States and Canada. To accomplish the work, brothers began forming regional building committees. This method worked so well that in 1986, the governing body formalized the arrangement, and by 1987, there were 60 regional building committees, RBCs, in the United States. By 1992, RBCs had also been appointed in Argentina, Australia, France, Germany, Japan, Mexico, South America, and Spain. To be sure, the hard-working brothers who build kingdom halls and assembly halls deserve our support, for the work they are doing is part of sacred service. These quickly built kingdom halls provided a wonderful witness to the communities in which they were constructed. A newspaper in Spain, for example, carried the headline, "Faith Moves Mountains." Commenting on the constructions of such a kingdom hall in the town of Martos, the paper asked, "How is it possible that in this present world, based on selfishness, volunteers from various regions of Spain unselfishly travel to Martos in order to erect a building that has broken all records for speed, perfection, and organization?" The article answered the question by quoting the words of one of the witness volunteers. "The merit simply lies in the fact that we are people taught by Jehovah."
So our question for that, those two paragraphs, what has the construction of quickly built kingdom halls provided? Who's our sister in the back row there?
Well, these kingdom halls were built so quickly and efficiently that it no doubt provided a wonderful witness to the communities where they were constructed.
Very nice. Brother Richardson.
And I had the privilege of working on one of these in Laurel, Montana back in 1975, and I'll never forget the older guy living next door. He came over laughing and says, "There's no way in this world," he used different language, "there's no way in this world you people are going to put up that building in 2 days." That poor guy had to sit in his rocking chair and watch it happen right before his very eyes. And after the sod was planted and trees and all that, when it was done, he sheepishly came over and he apologized to the brothers for laughing at us. So in the world, a building like that takes several weeks to put up. So how amazing it was for communities to see us do it in 2 or 3 days and in such a unified manner. What praise that brought to Jehovah.
Very good. We appreciate the personal expressions there.